spoke on love, on marriage, and now let's speak about the family for a few moments here. The family is a very prestigious institution. Its importance can hardly be exaggerated. So I want to make three quick observations concerning the family tonight. Observation number one, the family was God's plan. It was God's plan. Use the Bible knowledge that you already know. When God made Adam, did he intend for Adam to be by himself? In fact, God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a help meet for him. So the Lord made Eve. He put them in the garden, and he blessed them and gave them specific instructions. What instructions did he give them? To be fruitful and multiply, to start a family. The idea of the family was the Lord's. It's not something that man dreamed up and said, hey, it'd be a good idea if we'd pair off and have children. It was how God set the thing up from the beginning. In our day, there's been a constant pressure to change the definition and the purpose of a family. But it wasn't our idea. So we have no right to change the parameters. We must always remember that family was ordained by God, and his instructions are the ones that define and control it. Don't ever let that slip from your mind. The family was God's idea. Number two, the family is the building block of society. The family is the building block of society. God created the family at the dawn of civilization. Why? Because civilization is built on the family unit. If you try to think of uncivilization, the closest thing that we could come to uncivilization would be the Wild West. In proximity to us, that's pretty close, and in our history, and it's not that far back in our history, the Wild West was an uncivilized place. There's lots of stories of the Old West and how it was won, how it was tamed, how it was made civilized. And there's a lot of factors that go into that, but you know what the major factor is? Families started moving west. And as the families moved west, the place calmed down. Civilization was brought to the West, not by the gunslingers and the marshals. Civilization was brought by the families. The family unit is the building block of society. Our churches, our communities, our nation is only as strong as the basic building blocks. I guess it was about this time last year, maybe a little bit before, I decided I wanted to broaden my artistic inabilities. I guess it would be the better. I don't have any artistic ability, or very limited. And so I wanted to broaden that. And I love castles, and so I ordered some castle molds. It molds the bricks for castles. They're very intricate. And so I went after it, and I started molding all of these bricks. I molded hundreds of them out of this mixture of plaster. And when I started building them, I discovered that the bricks were too soft. And so I had this whole structure built, and I picked it up, and it fell into pieces because it could not sustain its own weight even when it was glued together. And I had to start all over with a totally different material to build these things. And so I have hundreds of these blocks that are totally worthless because they are the building blocks, and they have to be strong enough to make the structure go. The family unit is that for our churches, for our communities, for our nation. We look at this country and we desire for it to be strong and free. But we have allowed the basic building blocks to crumble right out from underneath us, and there is nothing to build on. The building blocks are all broken. God's people have not been careful, and we're finding that the basic building blocks that make for a strong church are not in plentiful quantity. The family was God's idea. The family is the basic building block of society. Number 3, the family is supposed to be a slice of heaven. The family is supposed to be a slice of heaven. God has some very specific things to say about the different parts of the family. In Proverbs 18:22, he says, "Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord." In Proverbs 31, he espouses all of the virtues and the impact of a good wife and mother. In Psalm 127, verses 3-5, he says, "Lo, children are a heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. As an arrow in the hand of a mighty man, so are the children of youth. Happy is the man that hath a quiver full of them." The truth is, the world is a dark, dirty, dangerous place. But God intended our homes to be a haven of rest in a troubled world, a little slice of heaven. Family is God's idea. The family is the basic building block of society, and a home is supposed to be a little slice of heaven. So what should we do in light of these 3 facts? Well, we better not allow our thinking to be influenced by the world's philosophy. God gave us instructions for the family, and we better follow the instructions that he gave us concerning it. 2, we need to strengthen our families. We need to strengthen our families. You know, the world is pulling us in hundreds of different directions, trying to tell us what's important and what we ought to invest our time in and what success really looks like. They have all kinds of ideas, and they're very vocal about their ideas. But you know, you have to remember, the world has all but destroyed their own families. Unless you want the results that they have, you better not follow their instructions. I don't know about you, but when I need to build something or work on something, I generally go to the internet because there's hundreds of people on there that'll tell you how to do what you're wanting to do. But I have learned that just because they made a video or made a set of instructions doesn't mean they really know what they're doing. I like to fast forward to the end of the video and see what their end result product is. I want to see the pictures of what they actually made, how this thing actually turned out, before I listen to their half-hour video on how they got there. I want to know the end result. And if you want to know the end result of the philosophies and the ideas and the pressures that the world's putting on you, look at what they end up with. And if you don't want that, then you better not let them push you out of your realm. You better not let them be the deciding factor on how you run your life. We need to strengthen our families. And that is not going to happen by following the world's lead. And number 3, we need to guard our homes from the turmoil that is around us. Our homes are to be a little slice of heaven. So keep it that way. Parents, leave the problems and irritation of work at work. Don't bring that garbage into your home. Don't come home all upset and irritated and take that out on your wife and your children. Don't do that. It is a slice of heaven. So do not disrupt the peace in your house by bringing the difficulties of your work into your home. Parents, love each other and love your children. Demonstrate it in as many ways and as often as you can in a day. Let it be shown. Let love roll through your house. Think of what a slice of heaven is like and work at maintaining that. Children, teenagers, do as you should. If I asked any one of you teenagers, what sets your folks off? What is their hot button? What do you do? What would you do that would really make the house a turmoil? You know what it is, so don't do it. It's a slice of heaven, so don't destroy that peace. Don't do those things that you know are going to really cause the family a difficulty. Let love permeate your home. Each member of the family ought to work at maintaining that little slice of heaven on earth. It's God's idea. Families are the building blocks of society, and God intended your home to be a slice of heaven on earth. Make sure that it is. You realize God is not going to take it lightly if you take your part in his plan lightly. It's his idea. Let's pray, then we'll give one more question.